Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get this on camera before I do any testing with it. Had this a few days now. Get a good look at the factory edge. And I am going to do all the testing of this in one video. And Benchmade claims 63 to 65 on the hardness. And for a great comparison, I know that this Cruwear that has been tested right there, I know that this is 63.3 for a hardness. I know how this one performs. I have tested it. Just for one reason or another, never ended up finishing the video, but do have this one. Know exactly what it does. So it's going to be a good comparison against this one to see what kind of numbers we get. Yes, my guess would be this edge is going to have to be dropped quite a bit. Everybody that I know that has one of these or the mini, the angles have been somewhere between 20 and 25 degrees per side. So I will get that dropped down. To begin with though, just like the others, going to test the factory edge. Then I'm going to go ahead and sharpen it at the factory angle for a direct comparison of what you can expect from one sharpening. And then I'll go ahead and drop that secondary, get the regular testing done. So this is the full-size Adamas in Cruwear. And that's it. May have another clip after this before I go to the cutting, so that's still yet to be determined. So I'm going to show how the apex is on the factory edge before I do any testing at all. You can see it does have some belt chatter to it. Does cut okay. Definitely doesn't feel like the proper S90V. So now that this has been tested, the bevel, as you can see, from or compared to factory, it is more than double the size now. I will talk about, after we watch the cutting, what I sharpened it to, what it was run at for which particular test, and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and get that cutting out of the way real quick. I have the footage from the factory edge, the first edge, and the one of the last test, either the real test or the verification. I think I'm only going to put the factory cutting, the real test result cutting footage, and then the footage for the Cruwear Manix in there. Can't say how long it's going to be, so you guys can skip ahead like usual, but it's going to be there for anyone who wants to see it. So let's go ahead and get to that cutting and then come back and talk about this. That we got that out of the way, go ahead and talk about both of these. This one's going to be easy. This is an early run Cruwear. Like I've said in other videos, it is supposed to have the diamond pattern grade G10. However, I did not get it that way. I got it unused, but swapped to the carbon fiber scales. So I've noticed with some of the early Manix 2s, they seem to be thicker behind the edge. This one, the Tan M4 that I just picked up not that long ago, and I've had a few others through my hands, they seem to be a fair bit thicker. This is a 16 degree per side bevel right here, and this is around 25 thousandths behind the edge, much like a Shaman. So that's why it's got a wide bevel. It is 16 degrees per side. Now onto this one. I did not want to thicken this one up so much. However, believe it or not, it is thinner behind the edge than the Manix is. This is a 17 degree per side bevel. As I showed toward the beginning of the video, you look at the footage of how I got this. It was 20 degrees on one side and between 20.5 and 21 degrees on the other side. So for the first sharpened test, the very first sharpening, I did go ahead and even those both out and run it at 20 degrees per side. For the second sharpening, I went ahead and dropped it to 18.5 degrees per side. And then for the third and fourth sharpenings, it's the same 17 degree per side that you see right here. A couple other things to note. You can see right there, after I tell you guys the results, if you want to know how much cutting before your Cerakote is going to start coming off, yes, that is bare steel underneath there. It's like that on both sides. The coating's already coming off. To me, it doesn't matter either way. I am going to do some testing to see how the Cerakote on these holds up, and eventually, as this gets thicker, I will end up doing a regrind on it. So there's a lot less testing with the Manix here. So we're going to go ahead and get this one out of the way real quick. So I did run this one originally on the second edge. Never really finished it up. Never did anything with the results, but I do have them. So on the second sharpened edge on this Cruwear Manix, 233 feet fine edge, 105 feet working edge, for a total of 338 feet. Yes, this one did very well. Keep in mind though, this is above 63. This sharpens very nicely, comes up very nicely. I can notice in use a pretty good difference between this and my 61.8 and 62 for a hardness Cruwear from Spyderco. I can tell the difference in use, in sharpening. It's there. I know the softer ones do not perform this well. I did, however, pick this one to run against the Adamas because I have seen some tests on them, and I know they are hitting in the 64 range, and the hardest one I've seen was 64.4 on any of the Cruwear Adamas so far. So, on to the regular testing. When I hit the third edge, 256 feet fine edge, 107 feet working edge, for a total of 363 feet. Sharpened it again, same way as all my other tests. Ran the test again. 254 feet fine edge, 114 feet working edge, for a total of 368 feet. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, wow, that seems kind of high for Cruwear. Well, when you see the custom Cruwear testing that I have coming up, then hold any judgment until then, and until we talk about the Adamas. But been really happy with this one. Had zero problems with it. It drops back very nicely. It is a 100% usable edge still, and don't know if I'm going to be able to catch it on camera, but as you can see, on 16 micron CBN on basswood, the 1-inch section that I used drops back well enough to easily shave. Again, no, it's not quite as nice as when I first sharpened it before I used it, but this 1-inch section here drops back. It's really sticky. It's got plenty of bite left. Super happy with Cruwear. And now we'll move to this one. I was super curious about these. I was kind of hoping this would come out the same time as the Mini. Didn't happen, but I couldn't be happier with this. I love the updates to it. I am gonna do a little bit of modification to it myself, to where I think it would be better for me. And for those of you wondering, this jimping is not very aggressive, and through all this stuff I put it through already, I've had zero problems with it. It is less noticeable in use against your hand than like Griptilian jimping or something like that. So the factory edge, like I already told you guys, was a pretty high angle. It was a little over 40 inclusive, and in a 1-inch section I was able to get 114 feet total cutting on the factory edge. Not the best that I've done, but it's running about mid-pack for what I've tested on factory edges so far, where it lands. So then I went ahead and sharpened it, made it exactly 20 degrees per side, stropped the same way as every other test, and ran it again. And on the very first edge on this, 137 feet fine edge, 133 feet working edge, for a total of 270 feet. Pretty good on the very first edge, 20 degrees per side. Almost what the K390 did on the very first edge. So, went ahead and sharpened it, put the second edge on. That's when I dropped it to 18.5 degrees per side. Wanted to see how wide the bevel was going to get, and then I figured I may as well just run every edge up until I get consistent results. So on the second sharpening, 187 feet fine edge, 122 feet working edge, for a total of 309 feet. Pretty good at 18.5 degrees per side. Just about where the Z-Wear Shaman was. So on to edge 3. Only difference is that is when I dropped it to 17 degrees per side. So on edge number 3, 240 feet fine edge, 113 feet working edge, for a total of 353 feet. So I'm absolutely happy with that. Went ahead and sharpened it again for the verification test. Still at 17 degrees per side. 246 feet fine edge, 113 feet working edge, for a total of 359 feet. So as you can see, now I know, like I said, I've seen a bunch of these tests around 64 so far. Maybe this one's a little softer, I don't know. However, they're pretty comparable. So absolutely happy with it. I did, after I finished all the testing, on the second edge I stropped it back and did a little bit of cutting with it, like another 8 or 10 feet, just to get an idea of how well it came back. Did great. And on the fourth edge I stropped it back and did the same thing. Strops back from ending the test because it's hanging up on paper to clean cutting paper. And don't know if I'm going to be able to catch this or not, but in the 1-inch section it is also back to shaving. I'm not going to talk too much about Cruwear in this video because I've gotten more requests than I thought I had. I went back and looked, and a couple other people that have channels had asked me to do my top 5 favorite steels. So, spoiler, I'm going to talk about Cruwear in that video. So I'm not going to double down on that information. I'll just put it in the other video. This one's already running a little bit long. So far though, very happy with this. Love this thing. Glad I got the big one, because with my fingers crammed together in a hammer grip, that's what I have left. If I use a normal comfortable hammer grip, that's how much I have left. Been enjoying it. It's been done a couple days now. I have been carrying it on the 4th edge and doing all my normal cutting, and it's still stropped back just like you saw. I stropped it right before this video to being able to shave. I am probably going to get another one of these. Don't know which color. Probably whatever I find first. Don't care which one it is. And I am going to do some more testing to it. This one I'm going to carry and use and enjoy. I am going to get another one that in the event I break it doing something stupid, any number of different things, I don't have to go without one and buy another one. Only thing I am going to change, the deep carry clip has to go. Because the weight of the knife, I actually weighed this one on 2 different scales. It was 6.32 ounces, so a hair lighter than they list on their weight. It is very close to the weight of my AD-15, and on my AD-15, about this much of the knife sticks out of my pocket, and what that does is it pulls some weight of the knife up, and it does not swing around and move around too much. What I've noticed carrying this one for the past couple days, with it being that far down in my pocket, it's kind of like a pendulum. It tends to move around quite a bit, and I can really feel it. Now, that little bit of clip difference, for me, is huge. That does make a big difference. I can carry the AD-15, and it's like carrying any other knife to me, even though they're almost identical in weight. So, that's all I have for this one for right now. I am going to do maybe some of the impact and drawing a blank. Impact resistance and edge stability testing on this. And I am going to test out the coating a little bit and see how that does. That's for another video though. That's how these both did. Very even in terms of cutting performance. And I'm curious to see where the other Z-Wear Shaman falls. That one will be coming soon. I haven't tested that one far enough through to know if it's going to be anywhere close to these or not. But if you guys have any questions, comments, anything like that, put them down below. That's all I have for this one. As always, I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.